Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another Reader's Magnet featured author interview. My name is Mark, and I will be your host for this session. Joining me today is one of the Reader's Magnet featured authors that is here with us to share his journey as an author and to tell us more about his book titled Red Hand's Prize. We have the author himself, Gregory Bruorton. Hi, Greg. How are you today?
You got it. Hey, I'm doing almost wonderful.
That is great to hear, Greg.
This
I'm
is
really
Coach
happy.
under wonderful.
This is really, I'm really happy to see you today, and we are really excited to, talk more about your book, Red Hands Prize, and we really can't wait to know more about it. If you can see it here on our screen, we can really find the book cover very interesting, and we can wait to talk more about it. But before we do that, Greg, I want you to introduce yourself first to our audience right now.
Well, the name is Greg Bruorton. I go by that. My full name
Mm-hmm.
is Gregory Ward Bruorton. My mother named me after her favorite stars of Gregory Peck and Ward Bond. So
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't wound up. I didn't wind up as a junior in my family. I was born in Vermont, as you can tell by my accent,
Mm-hmm.
but I was raised in Alabama, Michigan, and joined the Army at the age of 20. I got out
Mm.
20 years later, and I started writing. I had begun writing my autobiography, which is two big notebooks full already.
Oh,
And then I
wow.
started writing short stories about myself. And then I told myself, I don't want to talk about me all the time. So I started writing short stories with characters, fictional characters, through
Right.
the experiences I had in life. And that turned out to be blossoming. And I've got probably 120 short stories and 40 novels waiting to
Wow.
go.
Right.
And Reader's Magnet is doing a good job in getting me doing that. So the book itself, if you have any
Tell us more
questions
about this
about
book.
the book, it's a little bit of a long story. Now you see the picture of the copy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was browsing through my old watercolors in a suitcase that I've had for since I was 6 years old. I started
Mm-hmm.
painting these when I was 10. Well, I ran across this painting here and I said, sounds to me like it could be a good story. And then my thoughts went back to Sarah Parker, who, as a young girl, was kidnapped by the Comanches in southern Texas. She
Mm-hmm.
stayed with the tribe. This is a true story. She stayed
Uh-huh.
with the tribe and eventually bore a son called Quanah Parker. He became one of the most famous chiefs of the Comanches. And in time, he fought for peace and got it. So when I began writing a story, thinking of Red Hand, as on the picture that I had painted when I was about 16 years old, I
You
said, well,
drew
this is
this
going to
book
go
cover?
forward. Yep, sure did. I was about
Oh,
16 when I
wow.
did it.
Wow, you're
I had
talented,
more,
Greg.
well, thank you, but I do more
Uh,
guitar playing than I do painting now.
so do we
But
expect
I
illustrations in
saw
this book, Greg? Mm-hmm. Please continue.
start with the book. All right, I'm going to start
Uh,
with that book. It got the cover. It inspired me to write Red Hand's Prize,
uh-huh.
and I altered my own characters. The main character is a little 11-year-old girl called Sarah Rustin, Sarah Ann Rustin. She was riding with her parents coming west from St. Louis when all of a sudden Sioux warriors attacked the little small wagon train. They
Mm-hmm.
massacred everyone except Sarah Rustin. The chief, Red Hand himself, took the girl back to his village and put her in his lodge. He just decided to keep her. He wanted her as another sister for his daughter, Blue. What the heck? Blue, Blue Flower.
Oh,
And he
wow.
wanted another daughter for himself. with his wife. I tell you what, Sarah Parker was no easy target. She cussed him out. I don't know how. And I put true dialogue in there, except the real bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As a She had vowed to kill the chief when she could, but the
Mm-hmm.
chief kept her tight for a long time until his wife decided to cut the rawhide strips from her wrists. As it grew, she became eventually acclimated to the tribe. She
Mm-hmm.
actually, despite her misery and her torment about losing her parents in a hideous fight and being taken to the lodge of the chief himself who had did it, she
Mm-hmm.
started growing closer to the family of
The tribe,
their daughter Blue.
blue flower.
And believe it or not, it started blossoming into true love as a family. And she stayed there for 20 years.
Oh wow.
During those 20 years, yeah, during those 20 years, she met a Indian warrior that was the chief among the tribe under Red Hand himself, called
Mm-hmm.
Iron Horse. And at first, he decided that he was going to kill her cousin that they had dragged into the camp, Captain Eugene Ruston. It
Mm-hmm.
happened to be her cousin. She saved him, and by doing so, she had to slash the arm of Iron Horse and make him believe her. He stepped back and he was ready to fight and kill this little girl.
Mm-hmm.
The chief came in and said, "Now you wouldn't want to do that because you'd have to face me. You know the consequences." And he wisened up and did the right smart thing. He let the captain live, and Sarah was able to take him to a lodge out behind the chief's main lodge and care for him, along with Blue Flower, her adopted sister. Well, Captain Rustin was healed from his injuries, and he was really tortured, and
Mm-hmm.
as you can imagine, by two Indians. Finally, he Sarah and Blue Flower got him a little
Mm-hmm.
pony and gave him the old pistol back, uh, which he stole from Iron Horse's lodge, and sent him on his way at night. And he went back to his dragoons in the Fifth Cavalry. Well, trouble was always there brewing between Iron Horse and Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
But after she became the tribe's medicine woman, she was the one that healed him, along with Blue
Mm-hmm.
Flower, her adopted sister. And he had a big he had a terrible gash in his arm, and she cut it from shoulder to wrist. Well, she healed him of it,
Oh
and he was
wow.
forever grateful. And their relationship started getting closer and closer.
Right.
Finally, they realized that the whites would keep coming into the lands, and Iron Horse and Red Hand fought it every which way. Iron Horse was more of a warrior than he was anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And he told his wife at the time when he married her, he said, "I will not live and go on a reservation. I will die." And that's what happened. He died. He fought in the Custer's fight, Custer's last stand on June the 25th, 1876.
All right. All right.
Well, Sarah Rustin had a terrible ordeal getting over that. Now, what is your question?
Right. So I want to stop you there, Greg, because I believe we are sharing too much about what the book is all about. You're literally sharing everything, and we don't want to,
I know.
we don't want we don't want our viewers to actually know what is the book all about or the story, the whole story of the book. We just want them to, be curious of what the book is all about. But to sum it up for you, Greg. So the book is all about this girl named Sarah Ruston who were held captive by the tribe of Red Hand, and she
Uh huh.
basically developed, a relationship with um the tribe. And
Mhm. It means
basically the
yeah.
theme of this story is more about the survival, a cultural conflict, and a personal transformation amidst the unforgiving situation that she is in. And yeah, so far it really it really hooked me up, actually, Greg. I really want to know more, but I believe you were almost sharing everything already. But yeah, it is enough for us to
Yeah.
be interested about the book. It's really nice, especially when the book is actually inspired by a real story. Sarah, was that Parker?
It's familiar to Sarah Parker with the Comanches. There's similarities involved. Where Sarah
Right.
Parker was adopted in the Comanche tribe is the same thing as Sarah Rustin was adopted in the Lakota tribe,
That's
Sioux.
Red Tribe. Mm-hmm.
So, and the name
Right.
of
It's really
Iron
nice.
Horse is explained in the book, and I won't
Mm-hmm.
get into that, but there's a real reason why he was named Iron Horse by his uncle,
And
and I
it's
want you
up
to
for
read it.
yep, it's up for our viewers to actually know the reason behind the name Iron Horse. Okay, thank you so much
That's
for
right,
that,
and
Greg.
that's
Now, uh-huh.
go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about what do you hope your readers will take away after reading this very interesting story, Greg?
That is an excellent question, and I have an excellent answer.
Mm-hmm.
As most Americans have thought for years and years about the terrible Sioux and the Apaches and the Comanches and how barbaric they were when fighting the settlers and the cavalry, the reader will come away with a renewed sense that these savages are just as they are. They're warm, they're compassionate, they're loving, they have the same values in life as the white settlers does,
Mm-hmm.
and they find out a lot of similarities when they were later on met up to travel to a special place together. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where they learned of one another much more easily. So the Sioux was not just the cutthroats; they were human beings that the reader will find out, and it will dispel the mighty stoic warrior that they always epitomize in the movies. I'm not trying to
Right.
break tradition. I'm just trying to explain a little bit of what happened and to show the reader that these are people just like you and I. We have
Right.
families. We love our family.
Totally, Greg. Actually, this book is actually reminding me of this Disney movie titled Pocahontas. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it is
Aha.
about the tribe.
I never
Yeah, and
saw it.
then and the tribe were actually um what it calls attacked by a group of people, more civilized people, and
Yeah,
you
Powhatan.
know, yeah,
They were the
and it all
Powhatans.
become uh-huh. And then long story short, they realized that these are people and we are one, we are brothers and sisters, so things like that. And I believe that this
That's
story
right.
is also some kind of like this
Yeah, in a way, a sense, but
in a
it
way.
starts out barbaric, primitive,
Right,
savagery,
right,
and
right,
then
I get you.
Sarah, Sarah grows closer to the family,
Uh-huh.
and 20
The
years
tribe,
later,
right. Mm-hmm.
she does something different, and I'm not going
And
to tell you what it is. It
and it's up
changes
for
her
our
life
viewers.
and her son,
Uh-huh.
and she has a
Wow.
son through marriage, and that son grows up to be a great, great uh,
Warrior, I think.
lawyer, judge. Now, I'm not going to say any more about it because it takes all the fun out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right. We don't
Mark,
want
you're
to
right
give
on
away
target.
everything.
No, you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you stopped me because I have a tendency to run my mouth too much, too soon, and too
Right.
quickly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I
Now,
believe
no-
I believe the reader will really enjoy this Red Hand's prize despite the savagery at the time because they're going to grow and learn that the Indian, the Irishman, the
Hmm.
settler from England all have the
Hmm.
same values in life as family,
Right.
a deity that they worship to, and they have love in these families. It's all there in Red Hand's Prize, and it's all here in our lives. And they're going to find
Right.
that out.
That is
And that's all
right.
I'm going to say.
I think that would be the moral of this book, the moral lesson of this book, um, Greg. And we are really excited to know more about the story, the detailed story of this book. And you mentioned that Sarah and one of the primitive or the Red Hand were able to bear a child. And for sure, I believe that that story will be on another sequel. Are we expecting another sequel,
Oh, it
Greg?
will. The next sequel is called Legacy of Iron Horse. Much
Ooh.
more pages than this one. It starts with Iron Horse himself, and it
Hmm.
goes down through his sons until modern day 2018. That's when the last story begins. That's all I'm going to
Interesting,
say.
interesting. All right.
They're
Actually,
ready
that
for
is enough for us to.
publication as I speak.
Wow, so you already have the book drafted.
Oh yeah,
Just willing to be.
they're ready to
Wow.
go. It's just that
Wow.
Reader's Magnet's kind of like a snail right now. Nothing against them, but I love them to death. But they're going to bring those other three books out to the readers here, and it's going to be a four-part series starting with Red Hand's Prize.
There you go, guys. So if you
I
want to know
thoroughly
more.
enjoyed this because, yeah, since the age of 10, I don't think I told you, but since the age of 10, I got fascinated by the American Indian, as many Americans do. And of course, my fascination was with the Sioux and the Apache and the Comanche and the Shoshone and others. I started drawing them. I started painting them, as you can see
Hmm.
here. That was watercolor, but I have a lot of oil paintings hanging around here, and I gave away a lot because I didn't have any more room to hang them. And I sold a couple, so that made me a professional painter.
No,
But
you're
I learned a
you're.
lot of things as I studied the American Indian, and that shows in this book here. So, because what I wrote is what I learned through the years since age 10. I learned
Wow.
the
And
Indian
I can
Sign
really.
Language.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really nice to know, Greg. I just want to share to you this or highlight this comment from our one of your viewers, Alani. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, Alani Jacinth or Hacinth, saying "Legacy of Iron Horse" is such an interesting title. I'd like to know more about it. So one of our viewers
Well,
is
I'll be glad to
actually
tell you.
now interested about your upcoming
Well,
book, Greg.
I just mentioned the legacy of it, but going from Iron Horse himself, the second main character in the book here, down to the year 2018. And
Mo.
I'm not going to tell you any more about it, but the names of the titles are Legacy of Iron Horse, Fair Game, and John Amber.
There you
Now,
go,
they're all
another
Indians.
character. All
There you
right.
go. That's the sequel right there. And then I'm going to get into a bunch of different stories.
All right. We are
Some
really
will be
excited for that,
Indians,
Greg.
some will be by motorcyclists. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are going to be military background, like Baby Jane is.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mark, I thank you. I thank you for this opportunity for me to
No.
get this information out to the public.
Yeah, no. It should be us to be thankful of you, Greg, for choosing our platform, to share your story with the world, and we are just really grateful and just happy. And I just want to say to you, Greg, that this session will be broadcasted in all of our social media platforms. That's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and it will stay there forever. And anytime, anywhere, anyone can see this live session, and they'd be introduced more and actually know more about what the book is all about. And the books that you are going to write soon. But yeah, I believe that we have
Yeah.
reached the end of our session, Greg. Now, for the last time though, I want you to show the book on camera and invite everyone to buy a
Oh,
copy of this book. Okay, here
this
you go.
is number one of four. You're going to love it. And my last
Oh,
name is pronounced Bruorton. You know how to
Bruorton.
pronounce Greg.
Bruorton.
Now you got it from the horse's mouth. That's a.
All
I've
right.
read this thing four times, and not
Okay.
during just editing, but I've read it four times. I looked to myself as I wrote that darn thing, and I'm surprised. And so will the
It's
reader.
feels fulfilling, right?
So will the reader.
For sure, Greg. Okay, so we have one comment here from
I don't like
Brittany
the night.
Shanais. Yeah. Okay, Greg. So one comment here, by the way, from Brittany saying, "Oh, I'll definitely order a copy." There you go. So we now have
That's
someone that
right.
is really interested
That's
about the book. That's the one we need here,
Amazon,
Greg.
Barnes and Noble, Books a
Uh,
Million. They're there.
All right. Again,
Mark,
so
I
yes,
thank you
everyone.
so much.
No, thank you so much, Greg. Okay. All right, everyone. That's Greg or Gregory Bruorton, the author of the book Red Hand's Prize, available on Amazon and Barnes& Noble. Again, we just want to thank you, Greg, for sharing your story with us and these book and upcoming books that you will publish soon. As we always say here, though, Greg, we share your story with the world. Thank you so much, Greg. Bye.